Konnichiwa!
Me, Havana!
And I'm Yuna!
And we are the
We Are Babes!
Today we're going to talk about, well, something we really love. Japanese. The language.
And there's actually 3 parts to it. So there's katakana, hiragana, and kanji.
Kanji.
The one that they taught me in school was mostly katakana.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And this is when you were in Japan?
This is when I lived in Japan. Yeah, I lived in Misawa, actually. It's on the main island at, like, the northern part.
Yeah, you said it was, the weather was really, it got really cold and snowy.
Oh, yeah. During the winter time, it was, like, extremely cold. There would always be blizzards. But to them, it was, like, normal. So you would still have to go to school, which sucked.
No winter.
Like, no.
Make you strong. You must become smart.
Be a man.
Except for that's Chinese.
Oops. Oops, wrong culture reference.
I just think that's interesting that they taught you katakana because the first actual written one was hiragana because they took kanji from the Chinese and then they just applied, they tried to take the meaning that the Chinese had it and apply it to their own.
Yeah.
But it ended up changing it anyways. And the women were like, this is dumb. Why don't we just write our own language? So they took parts of it, and then they made the hiragana.
Oh, how cool.
But then all the men are like, we don't use the Lenin's language. So then they came up with katakana.
I didn't know that was the history of it. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the characters from those cultures, like Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, all kind of derive from the same roots, if you think about it. Like, the kanji characters look a lot similar to each other.
Well, they do. Like, this one, for instance, means love. It's ai in Japanese, and it's, I found out when I went to Hong Kong that it's the same exact symbol for love in Chinese.
Yeah, it is.
And then they say yao or something like that. Like, it's almost the similar saying. Obviously, that's Cantonese, and this is Japanese.
Chinese is wo ai ni, and then that's like I love you, and then Japanese is aishiteru.
Is that Mandarin or Cantonese?
I think it's Mandarin.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's Mandarin.
It's crazy how different they both are.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I want to learn them, but the dialect, because it's a tonal system, and you're like,
the 4 tones.
Right? I want someone to tell me how it sounds, because the way they describe it just...
Yeah, but what if you use the wrong tone?
Right?
Like, you enunciate the wrong vowel, and then you're all of a sudden insulting somebody.
I know,
yeah.
I know.
That's the same thing Japanese about the informal and formal.
Yes.
Like, you have to use the right version of the term, so that way you're not being disrespectful.
This is very true.
Like, a good example was, like, in an anime, the guy would be like, oh, hara heta, which means, like, oh, I'm starving, right? And I thought it was okay to say, so I said it to a lady. And she was like, no, Miki, like, you should say, himoji desu. And I was like, well, is it because I'm a girl? And she's like, well, yeah, but because, it's more respectful, because I am talking to, someone older and that I don't know very well.
Yes, oh, yeah.
So I'm glad that she corrected me because I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yes. No, that is something you should always learn when learning a new language, to be respectful in that language.
Definitely.
Because it is not yours, and you need to make sure that you're using it the way that it was intended.
Yeah.
And if you respect the language, you should respect the people.
And, like, if you're using the slang, like, to be humorous, sometimes people don't see it the same way. They just see that as you, like, kind of spitting,
Yeah,
and... It's like, you don't want to be offensive.
Yeah. So we are learning, she's continuing to learn. I am learning because I just think it's one of the most beautiful languages, especially written. And I believe that if you're going to learn a language, you should learn how to write it as well as speak it.
Oh, yeah,
so we'll keep you up on that as we go.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Everyone out there, this is this week's this is today's episode. This episode.
One of the two.
So
baka.
All right. So everyone out there, you
stay kawaii.